Lord, I bow down before you. I was lost in despair, but nobody knew, 'cause I smiled through it all, and I constantly prayed to you. I needed a kind word, a smile or a hug. I needed to know that somebody loved me, 'cause I felt so all alone. But lo and behold,
in the midst of it all,
in the midst of it all,
you encouraged my soul.
Yeah, you did.
So I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep
holding on.
Keep holding on. In the midst
of it all,
right in the middle,
you encourage my soul.
That's what your word did. Your word encouraged me. I'll just keep holding on. So I stayed, Lord, in your presence, 'cause I believed you would hear me, but I didn't know you were already moving. Lord, you were there all along. Then you sent down your angels to lift my head up just a little higher. And that's when I knew you heard me, saw me, loved me. Yes, you did. And once again I regained hope in the midst of it all. Right in the midst of it all,
you encourage my soul. So I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Whoa. In the midst
of it all,
in the middle of my mess, you begin to bless.
you encourage my soul.
So I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Weeping may last all night, joy will come in the morning light, 'cause you never fail to supply my needs. And the more I prayed, the more I knew your love for me would see me through, and your favor and grace fell on me in the midst
of it all.
That's when it happened, yeah.
You encourage my soul.
So I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on to your unchanging hand. In the midst
of it all,
you encourage me, my whole soul.
so I won't let go.
I won't let go.
I'll just keep
I'll keep holding on. In the midst
of it all,
ooh,
you encourage my soul.
I won't let go. I can't let go.
I'll just keep
I'll just keep
holding on.
holding on.
Holding on in the midst of it all.
In the midst of it all,
You encourage my soul.
you encourage my soul.
Let go.
Can't let Hello, family. This is your pastor, R.C. Blakes Jr., and here I am again. And welcome back to Bible study. I have a very good one today. I want to just talk about 10 steps to separating from toxic associations. Not necessarily, romantic associations, but just associations, relationships, connections with people on the job, people in the church, people in the family, people in the neighborhood, people on social media. The reason I think this is so important to talk about, especially in a Christian context, is because somehow we as believers are made to believe that we're obligated to go further with people than is actually healthy for us. In other words, you feel bad about drawing the line. You feel bad about, reclaiming your space and your mental health because you feel like it's not Christ-like to actually separate yourself from people who are proving to be not good for you. I know I struggled, not as much now as I used to. I really struggled with that. I felt like I was just obligated and somehow I could pray my way through it. And it was just the will of God for me to keep this toxic person in my life. But you have to go and you have to critically analyze Luke chapter 9. Let me see if I can get over there. Luke 9, I think it's verse 4. Listen to what it says. Luke 9 and verse 4 says this, "And whatsoever house ye enter into, there abide, and thence depart." And verse 5 says, "And whosoever will not receive you, when ye go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet for a testimony against them." And they departed and went through the towns. But notice how Jesus is instructing his disciples how to go into a place, analyze the reception, the spirit of the people, determine if this is a place you should stay in, is this a place you should make your deposit in, or is this a place you should dust your feet and keep it moving? There is no assumed obligation to stay in any particular place, except that the people receive you properly. And let me just break up that religious myth right now. You are not obligated to keep people in your life. You're not obligated to keep people in your life, in your space, in your face, in your organization, in your company, that are not agreeing with your spirit. That is a religious lie that has been sown to manage and to manipulate the souls of countless believers. And we buy into that lie, and we think that we're just supposed to hold on to this, and we're not supposed to let this person go. And, it's the devil that's saying to me, you need to, if this person is toxic, you need to release this person. I've told you the story many times, how years ago, I was wearing a certain Cartier cologne. I don't know if it was cologne, perfume, or what, but it was very strong. And I went into this store, and I was about 3 or 4 customers back in line to pay. And the young lady that was at the register started coughing and sneezing. And then I moved up one, and then the lady said, Sir, could you please back up? Could you please back up? Your cologne, your fragrance I'm having an allergic reaction to it. And she and I both laughed about it and what have you. But she was wise enough to protect herself. She said it in a way that I didn't get offended. I thought it was funny. It was true. And she simply said, I need space. And that is basically what you must do with a lot of the people in your life that are coming into your sphere, coming into your space, your arena, bringing their toxicity to you, impacting you negatively, and religion has you so handcuffed you don't know what to do. I have 10 things I want to share with you today. Number one is always recognize the signs of toxic behavior. Before you can take steps to disconnect from toxic people, you need to identify them. Observe everyone's behavior and look for patterns of negativity, manipulation, emotional abuse, ignoring boundaries, overbearing, over-demanding, selfish, self-centered, disregard for you and what is best for you. No concern at all with what is best for you. Just give me what I want. You have to stop and you have to recognize the signs of toxic behavior. Because the more you love a person, the easier it is for them to slip their toxicity in on you. And can I let you in on something? The people that are quite often the most toxic and abuse us. When I say us, I mean just people in general. The more are children, your own children, who know how to play you like a brand new piano. And you just ignore all of the toxic behaviors in this person because, sometimes love is what? Blind. But I like the way Proverbs 4:23 puts it. He says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. In other words, I think when you take this text and you correlate it with the point I'm making, you have to always pay attention to how a person makes you feel. Maya Angelou says what? People will never forget how you made them feel. And if a thing does not feel right, if a person's behavior does not feel right, 99.9% of the time, that person is at least not right for you. That person just may very well just not be right. And it is your responsibility to guard your heart and recognize the signs of toxic behavior. If you had just paid attention and if you had not just been consumed with wishing upon a star, hoping for a thing to be what it never could have been, and you had really paid attention to the behavior, how long ago would you have gotten rid of people who've done so much damage to you? John Mark Green says we should never underestimate the power of toxic people in our lives. They have a way of slipping in like natural gas. They have a way of slipping in like natural gas, and they have a way of destroying you and killing you, almost like putting you under anesthesia. So you have to really pay attention to everyone in your life. Don't take anyone at face value. Discern everyone, that you may what? Number one, recognize the signs of toxic behavior. Number two, you're going to have to assess the level of toxicity, because all levels of toxicity are not the same. Take it from one who pastors and deals with a lot of people. There are many different levels of toxicity. You have to determine the extent to which the person is toxic to you. Consider the frequency and intensity of the negativity and the impact it has on your well-being. Some people are just irritating. You know what I mean? Some people are slight annoyance. some people really give you, really have an emotional impact on you. I mean, when they come into your environment, they're so toxic, all of your vitals change, your blood pressure, your sugar levels. They have that kind of an impact on you. They cause you stress in your mind. You're going to have to assess the level of toxicity. And this is important because the level of toxicity a person brings determines the approach you have to take, the sternness of the approach, the aggressiveness of the approach you must take to separate this person from your environment. You see, if you look in Matthew chapter 7, verse 16, he says, by their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? If a person is constantly producing negative fruit in your life, I mean, assess the level, and if a person is constantly bringing you stress and trauma and drama, this person didn't come from God. It can't be the will of God for this person to maintain a seat at your table, to stay in your life. Don't let religion lie to you. Don't let toxic empathy make you feel obligated to this person. When you assess the level of the toxicity, this person is impacting your mental health and maybe even your physical health. And you're trying to sweep that under the rug. You know them by their fruit. You know them by their fruit. Anita Chipola says this: a toxic relationship can irrevocably damage your sense of self. And I know that to be true. I absolutely know that to be true. I'm a man that speaks quite a lot to the empowerment of women. And I've had women say to me, of course, I'm caring less and less. It used to hurt my feelings, but it don't hurt my feelings no more. I'm gonna do what I got to do. But I had women tell me, you're a misogynist. You're a misogynist. And I mean, anybody knows me, I'm not a misogynist. And one woman told me that my words are condescending. I was talking to the people in that particular message about how women give so much in relationships and because they give so much, it's hard for them to let go because they've invested so much. And this woman said, your words are condescending. You're not a woman. Well, that used to really hurt my feelings. It doesn't really hurt my feelings anymore because now I realize that the only women that can hear my message and come back with those conclusions are women that were so severely damaged by men that they're just triggered by the beard. They're triggered by the deepness of my voice. They're triggered by my gender. It really has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with some toxic man that broke them so severely in the past that now they can't even hear loving truth from a kind gentleman. Because a toxic relationship can irrevocably damage your sense of self. You sit around and you tolerate toxic people in religious circles. It will damage you to a point that you won't be able to fit into any other congregational setting again. So it's important to assess the level of the toxicity to determine how quickly, how aggressively you need to move to put distance between you and this person, which brings me to point number 3. You're going to have to set boundaries. In other words, clearly communicate your boundaries to the toxic person and stick to them. And sometimes establishing boundaries involves nothing more than just saying, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Why you can't? Well, I just got other things I want to do or I need to do. You just say, I want to do. No is the greatest boundary establisher known to man. I just can't do it. No, I can't do that. and stick to your boundaries. Allow people to go so far and no further. If people come into your house unannounced, ringing your bell, and you don't want them to do that, never answer the door. They'll learn not to use their gas to drive to your house to ring your bell unannounced. You have to set your boundaries and stick to them. There was a time, and still to the day, I still let people go too far with just, using up my time on the telephone for things, keep repeating the same thing for a whole hour that you could have said in 3 minutes, as if all I got to do is sit on the phone and listen to you say the same thing over and over again. It's different if we really digging into something, but you just constantly repeating the same stuff you said in the first 90 seconds. Come on, son. Come on now. So now I've gotten to the point where I've learned to say, all right, it's been great talking with you, and I'll be praying for you, and let's talk again sometime. And sometimes I got to repeat that twice. Okay, well, it's good talking with you. I'll talk to you again, and I'll be praying for you. Well, those are what? Boundaries. You got to make it clear that the person's behavior especially is not acceptable, and that you will not tolerate it. That doesn't always necessarily mean confrontation, but it does not exclude confrontation. If you have to be confrontational to establish a boundary, you'll just have to be confrontational. Sometimes, smart people can just read between the lines. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 37, he says, all you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Best way to establish a boundary. Yes, let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. See, if a person comes to your house, they can hear your television on, and they see your car in the driveway, and they came there unannounced, and you do not answer the door 2 or 3 times, they'll get the message. And then when they ask you, I came by your house, I heard your TV on, as if they have a right to come into your house. I saw your car in the driveway. Correct. I don't answer the door for people that I've not invited. People that come to my house, even my family, they call and let me know they're on their way. I don't answer the door for people that are unannounced. I just don't do it. And they can either get offended by that, or they can respect that. If they get offended over respecting that, they're out of order anyway. Because I don't have a right to impose upon your personal space. And when you're dealing with toxic people have a very unique way of overrunning boundaries and getting all in your personal space and doing things that they should not be doing. And the only way it will stop is if you establish the boundary. If you're going out with a man and he's all touchy-feely, he ain't going to stop until you say, hey, brother, I don't want you putting your hands on me. Number one, you probably shouldn't be going out with a man that's that ignorant, first of all, because you don't know where that could go. And the sad thing about it is I got to reverse that, because now we got women putting their hands on men like that don't want that kind of physical aggression from a woman. But the only way you stop people like this is to do what? Establish boundaries. Doreen Virtue says boundaries are a part of self-care. They are healthy, normal, and necessary. Part of what? Self-care. See, there are times my mental can't take some stuff that some people bring. That's just it. If I don't have the how do they put it? If I don't have the emotional bandwidth to deal with your kind of stuff, I don't owe you no explanation. I got to take care of me. I got to take care of my mental. Later, I'll be better and I'll be able to deal with your stuff. But I'm not going to have to explain to you why I make choices to take care of me, right? If people come to me and they say, well, Pastor, I can't serve anymore in this particular area because emotionally, I just can't deal with it. It's not no long, drawn out conversation where I'm trying to talk them out of it and talk them back into it. No. Once I hear that it's impacting your mental, forget about that particular area of ministry. Somebody else can handle that. I want to deal with, can I help you with whatever it is you're dealing with? The concern shifts to you. You see, because when a person is healthy and means you well, they're not offended at your by your boundaries when they understand that your boundaries are part of your self-care regimen. So there are times I have to just get off the grid. I can't answer the phone. I can't answer all of those emails. It's just a lot of negativity. And I'm a human being. I don't care how much people think I'm this or that. I'm a human being. I'm a man. And I have to guard and protect my own mental health by establishing what? Boundaries. Now, number 4, all of these kind of bleed out one into the other. Number 1, we said recognize the signs of toxic behavior. Number 2, we said assess the level of the toxicity that the person brings. Number 3, we said set boundaries. Number 4, reduce contact. Sometimes it's not as easy to just go no contact like we teach in Me, My Mind, the biblical perspectives on narcissistic abuse. Sometimes you're in a situation where you just got to kind of gradually reduce contact. Everything doesn't necessarily have to be this grand finale of a confrontation and fireworks. Some you just kind of fall off the scene gradually. You realize that a person is who they are and they're not going to change, and you don't have the right to ask another person to change to suit you. So since you don't have that right, nor do you have the power to change another person, you begin to reduce access to you. You begin to reduce that person's access to you. You begin to reduce contact, limit your interactions with the toxic person as much as possible. And this may mean avoiding them altogether or just reducing the amount of time you spend with them. Sometimes you have toxic people that are part of your family. Well, you kind of almost stuck with family, but you can reduce the amount of time you spend. You can reduce the amount of access you give. Rather than staying at the family reunion for 4 hours, 5 hours, go in, speak to everybody, hug all of the elders, kiss everybody, and, jet. You ain't got to make no noise about you getting out. Just slide on out. While they coming down the Soul Train line, you dance right onto the car, right onto the car, right onto the car. Say, okay, I got that done. You got to reduce contact when you're talking about pulling away from toxic associations, acquaintances. Reduce the contact. Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Reduce the contact. Don't spend as much time with people that don't make you feel good. Don't give as much access to people that don't make you feel good. People that leave you confused and perplexed in your soul after they're gone are not supposed to have direct access to your life, and certainly not supposed to have ongoing access to your life. Reduce the contact. Weeding out negativity is a healthy habit. Now religion will say to you, oh, that's not Christ-like. It is very much so Christ-like to reduce contact. Reduce the contact of people who impact you negatively. It is the will of God that you prosper and be in health even as your soul prospers. If I'm damaging you in terms of your mental, what is the soul? Mind, will, emotions. If I'm damaging you emotionally, mentally, it is not the will of God. You're going to have to learn to reduce contact. Now, number 5, I have 10.
Sometimes you're going to have to just be direct. You're going to have to just be direct. Some people are just so, they just don't get it. They can't read between the lines. And you're going to have to just be direct. If you must communicate with the toxic person, be direct and to the point. Avoid getting drawn into arguments or emotional manipulation. What does the Bible say? Speak the truth in love. You can tell a person the exact whole truth and have a pleasant demeanor while saying it, but at the same time communicating everything you need to communicate. A person is just not getting it. You're trying to back out graciously, but they're just not getting it. Sometimes it comes to a point where you have to say, I just feel stressed when I'm around you for some reason. And I don't know if it's just you or if it's me, but I know I feel stressed and I feel a bit anxious. And I just think I'm going to have to really create some space between you and I. Nothing personal. And you can say that with a very pleasant demeanor, nothing personal. And then, they're going to probably say, if they're a classic toxic person, especially if they're narcissists, they're going to try to make you feel guilty about drawing your line, about establishing your boundary. And they're going to try to manipulate the moment and all of that. But you're going to have to be direct. Some people, you just got to tell them just like it is. I'm not answering the phone. I'm just not answering the phone. What do we really have to talk about? What do we really have to talk about? And let the chips fall where they may. In Proverbs 15:1, he says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. You ain't got to say it harshly, but you got to speak the truth. You can speak the truth gently. I think you're a beautiful person, but for some reason, you and I are we're not gelling. And I just don't see no path for us moving forward right now. Maybe later, but not now. You know what I mean? And then let them say what they want to say. And then, you listen to them, actively listen to them. And then you'll say, well, either you can say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, or, I understand your position and I hope you don't take any of this personally, but, it's just where I'm at right now. And I love you and God bless you, and I wish you nothing but the best. And then get in your car and go on about your business or hang the phone up. You know what I'm saying? But don't feel guilty for outgrowing people who had the chance to grow with you. That's an unknown author. Don't feel guilty about outgrowing people who had the chance to grow with you. We just not gelling. We're not clicking. I think this is most appropriate in a romantic situation. Rather than leading a person on, when you go to feeling that you're on a different level and you're on a different frequency from this person, the most respectful thing you can do is be direct about how you're feeling. And don't suffer any guilt for outgrowing a person that had an opportunity to grow with you. But there comes a point in a lot of cases where the only way to get out of a toxic association or acquaintance is to be direct. Now, that comes easier for some people than it does others. People like me, it doesn't come that easy for me, to be direct. I can be direct when I get angry, which is not a good thing, because then being direct is not always, the words are not always the wisest or the most loving. You know what I'm saying? It's better to be calculated, to be intentional, to be non-emotional, and be able to be direct than to be a person like myself that has to almost get angry about a situation before you can speak exactly what's on your mind. Now, that's just a transparent moment, because we're all growing. We all have to, none of us have, hit 100%. We're all striving. And so that's a part of my process. But you got to learn in a lot of cases to be direct. Now you're there and you're saying, well, Pastor, I want to accept Jesus Christ, or I want to join New Home Church, or I want to connect with the cyber church community. There's an email address on the screen. If you would email us and let us know what your concern is, someone's going to respond to you. And I would love nothing more than to welcome you into the family of God, or to welcome you into the New Home family. I'd love nothing better than that. Now, today, as we prepare to honor the Lord with our tithe and to sow seed into the ministry today, to give, to contribute financially to the ministry today, first thing I need you to understand are the rules of giving here at New Home Ministries or in the cyber church community. You must, two basic rules. You got to be able and willing. Both of those. You got to be both of those. Because I often ask you to sow at certain levels. If you don't have it, I don't want you feeling responsible or feeling bad about not having it. You simply do your best. At this point, you're not able to do that, but your heart is willing. If you sit there and you have, millions of dollars, but you're not willing to give, I don't want you to give. Because though it may show up in the accounts of New Home Church, it will not really register as worship to God, because God requires that your heart be willing, that you be able and willing. And if you're able and willing to respond to whatever the call is, I celebrate your participation today. But if you come here to hear the word and you don't want to give, you don't even have to hang around for the giving part of it. Just keep coming to hear the word. If you don't have it, do your very best and feel good about it and know that God is going to bless you. But I need every person today that will honor the Lord with your tithe. All of the applications to give digitally are on the screen or in the description. I want you to find one of those, and I want you to return the Lord's tithe and do it now. Those of you that will sow $100 seed, I'm believing God for 100 people a week out of all of the thousands that watch. I'm believing God for 100 people a week that will sow $100 seed consistently. And if that's not your level, I want you to at least strive to sow what I call the corporate seed of $42. And I pull that from Job 42, where God restored to Job and gave him twice as much as he had before. I call it the restoration seed. So if you're searching for what should I give, I always tell people to fall back on the corporate seed of 42. But if you're in that number of sowing that $100 seed, I want you to do that as well. And again, all of the giving applications are on the screen, or the links are in the description. And if you need to mail it, they'll put the mailing address on the screen. And just know that I love you. We love you. We thank God for you. You're on top and you're going higher. This Sunday, I want all of you in Houston, Texas, to get ready to meet my brother, Bishop Samuel Blakes, at New Home Houston. He's going to be there for 11 a.m., 4805 Shermire Road. And I'll see you in person the following Sunday. I will also be at our Baton Rouge location this Sunday morning for 8 a.m. And I'll be at our Uptown location for 10:30 a.m. in New Orleans. So it's amazing what God is doing. Of course, 9 a.m. Uptown. I think it's 8:30 in Hammond, Louisiana, with Pastor McKay, 8 a.m. in Baton Rouge. And, we just got a lot going on. And so we're looking forward to seeing you this weekend. Know that you're on top. You're going higher. God has more in store for you. We will see you at the top. God bless you. Until next time.
And the word of the Lord is blessed. Can we just thank God for that word from our Bishop, R.C. Blakes Jr. Listen, family, now is the time to sow a good seed into the man of God's life. We can do that by sowing into his Cash App. As a matter of fact, you can take out your phones and scan that QR code. But if not, you can put in $ ROBERTBLAKESJR. You can also sow into his Venmo, his personal website, or on the Givelify app. at New Home Ministries Temple. Family, let's sow a seed into the man of God's life. Do it now.